Go ahead.
Call to order. The regular board meeting of the Governing Board of Trustees of Romoland School District is called to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, Mr. Reller.
Here.
Mr. Sperry.
Here.
Mrs. Kleitz.
Here.
Mr. Geary.
Here.
And myself, Miss Moon, here. Nikki, are there any public comments for closed sessions or public comments? Sorry.
No comments for closed session.
Okay, I am now going to call for closed session at 5:31 p.m. to discuss discipline, dismissal, release, and negotiations. Marla, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I just want to make sure when I start.
It's so quiet.
I know, huh? Nikki, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
I'm here.
I just wanted to double check. We have public comments, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read my little paragraph.
Looks like we've got everyone in, so you can start as soon as you're ready.
Okay. The regular board meeting of Romoland School District reconvenes at 6:30 p.m. Manny, was there any action in closed session?
Nothing to report.
Okay, we're going to do say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll start. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to review now the governance norms. We agree to act with dignity, respect differences, build trust, work as a team, engage the public, focus on the success of every student, and work together for the common good. We're going to move to the communications for the Governing Board of Trustees. Mr. Aguirre, anything to report?
Yeah, actually, I got a chance to on Saturday to go walk to drop off some flyers for Measure P, and just had some fun. Got to see some people I haven't seen from the district in a long person, obviously with some masks on, but it was really good to walk the neighborhood and see that a lot of people are going to support it, and we've seen signs everywhere. So just wanted to go ahead and share with that.
Thank you. Mrs. Kleitz, anything to report?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, again, we had a chance to go out and drop off flyers and talk to a few people in the community about our Measure P, and we're hoping for great success. I love seeing all the signs around our community. So I want to thank the staff and whoever put those around the community and in my yard. Thank you.
Mr. Speller, anything, or Mr. Reller, anything to report?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Mim. I'd like to piggyback on the work that was done this weekend for Measure P, but I think I really want to highlight what Measure P means to Romoland Elementary School District. With Measure P, the importance of that measure for us is that we are growing, and we're growing fast, and the state of California is not supporting school districts at this time for school construction. And in order for us to build another school and to touch every single one of our campuses, to increase the safety, security, and create world-class educational environments, we're going to need Measure P. And the difficulty with not getting Measure P is the potential for year-round schooling, for boundary changes, those things. We're in a tough situation. You know, we've never asked our community ever in the history of this district to pass a bond, but we need their help. So I'm hoping that the Measure P moves forward, and thank everybody for all of their work this weekend. But I'd like to highlight something else that happened at Romoland Elementary School District, Romoland Elementary this weekend. The USDA Farmers to Families program was there, where they've been serving boxes of food that feeds 4 to 5 people. 620 boxes were distributed. And in these boxes, they have things such as milk, yogurt, eggs, cheese, butter, chicken, potatoes, onions. There was a lot of Romoland staff there. Luisa Hernandez was there. Her daughter was there. Juan Valencia and a number of Romoland Elementary staff were there handing food out to our community, as well as the Army Reserve was there. And they had a really cool vehicle there showing that off to the community. So thank you to all of those individuals that were working on Saturday to hand food out to our community during this tough time that everybody's going through. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reller. Mr. Sperry, anything to report?
Yeah, I thank those who did take the time to go out this weekend and push in the Proposition P, because it is greatly needed in our district. Going off what Mr. Reller said, I can't put it any better than that. We need it. The other thing is for Vince. I got a compliment for Vince from members of the community. I was out doing business, and there was a mom with her kids in her office working with the kids online, and she just talked about some struggles she had getting online, and she's very thankful to Vince. It took care of the problem immediately for her. And as she was talking to other parents in the other districts and all the struggles the other parents are going through, they're very, very happy with Romoland at this point for the care they're taking with everybody. It's hard. It's hard on those moms that are at home with those children. Very, very difficult. They're not used to this, and the district is helping the parents out. And I think that's just wonderful. And said Vince doesn't normally get compliments. I don't think. It's always everybody's going to him with the problem. Well, they were raving about him. So thank you, Mr. Butler. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. And myself, I'm going to piggyback on Mr. Reller. I don't think he could have stated it anymore. And I know a lot of Heritage Lake homeowners, as well as myself, feel we pay high millaroos and taxes, but I do want to share that because of our growth, we are running out of room. And I believe when we met with the bond officials, it comes out to around $9. So it's not a huge amount, but it would allow us to build another school and improve the ones that we have and avoid year-round schools and changing our borders. And then I also want to acknowledge Vince also this evening, that I read that all the monitors that was brought up at our last board meeting that the teachers were requesting were in, and the teachers were now being able to schedule appointments to pick them up. So that's terrific. It was acknowledged, and we're doing everything we can to help our instructors so they're successful in working with our students. So thanks everybody again. Now we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. Mr. Payton.
Thank you, Ms. Moon. You have to excuse me. I'm going to read a little bit because it's a little bit technical this evening, but today new COVID data for Riverside County was provided in our weekly update from the state. At this time, the data is trending in a not so positive direction. The adjusted case rate per 100,000 increased to 9.2. That's up from 7.6 the previous week. Those pieces of data would really fall into what's the most restricted widespread category for the California Blueprint for the Safer Economy. So we've been in substantial for a few weeks. That data would point to us actually backsliding into the widespread category, because anything over a 7 in the adjusted case rate is considered widespread. I would also say that the other metric that the state uses is the positivity rate. And over the last 2 weeks, that has also increased from 4.8% to 5.9%, though those data points are still in the substantial category. I share that because we want to see the data trend in the right way. So just a reinforcer about social distancing, hand sanitizing, hand washing, wearing your mask, doing all those safety protocols is very important in your work life and also in your personal life. I will say that Riverside County has asked the state basically for a 1-week reprieve. By the state's criteria, Riverside County would be going back into widespread as of tomorrow. The county has asked the state for a 1-week reprieve to remain in the substantial category, which will allow some of the businesses that recently opened to remain open, but it's a 1-week reprieve. And so we don't know what next week may hold on Tuesday when new data points are released. And really due to that 2-week escalation, I just want to make sure and announce that we'll be scheduling a board meeting for next Thursday so that we can update the board on the data that comes out next week, where we're at with that. We can, if there's a need to make any adjustments to our school reopening plan at that time, we will do so, and we'll also solicit feedback from the board on that as well. And that's where we stand tonight with my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payton. Now we're going to move on to recognitions and announcements. First being student recognitions. Mr. Payton to introduce the students of the month for September.
All right, a more fun topic for us this evening. So we love to recognize our students of the month. And if we can't do it in person, we're going to do it virtually. First is Boulder Ridge student Cameron Butler from 4th grade and 4th grader Luis Cortez from Boulder Ridge. So golf clap for both of those students from Boulder Ridge Elementary School. From Harvest Valley Elementary School, we have Leonardo Martinez, 2nd grader, and Ureli Medina, a 4th grader from Harvest Valley. Congratulations, Ureli and Leonardo. Mesa View Elementary, we have 3rd grader Isabella Boring and 1st grader Jordan Williams. Congratulations, Isabella and Jordan, for being your school's students of the month. Romoland Elementary, Christian Andrade, 5th grader, and Sebastian Valdovinos, 3rd grader from Romoland Elementary. Congratulations, Christian and Sebastian. And from Ethan Chase Middle School, 7th grader Isaac Orozco and 8th grader Landon Perez. So congratulations to Isaac and Landon from Chase. We will make sure that your school site has your trophy and your yard sign to signify that you are a student of the month, and your site administration will be in contact with you to make arrangements to pick them up. So great job, everybody.
All right, we're going to move on to public comments. Members of the audience are invited to address the board at this time on each agenda or non-agenda item. The Ralph M. Brown Act, and in accordance with the board policy 9323, limits the governing board and staff's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at the time of such comments are made. If appropriate, the board may direct the superintendent to follow up on topics brought up in public comment. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker and 20 minutes per topic. All requests to address the Board of Trustees must be submitted on the request to address the Board of Trustees Google form prior to 4 p.m. The regular board meeting and the open session is scheduled to begin at 6:30. Nikki, do we have any public comments?
Yes, we do. We have one, and I will go ahead and read it. It is submitted by Sheila Jackson, a Romoland Elementary School teacher. And she submits, President Moon, honorable board members, Superintendent Payton, and executive staff, thank you for your leadership and support for our schools during this critical period. I would like to share some requests from primary elementary teachers. Several times, information was shared with parents and staff at the same time. This puts the staff at a disadvantage for answering parent questions. Could staff have some heads up? Clear communication with parents concerning classroom safeguards. Having 5- and 6-year-olds sitting in one spot for up to 2 hours at a time not being able to interact with other students. Currently, for K-2 students, masks are optional. What if parents do not want their child to be in school with classmates without masks? Is the district liable if students or staff become sick? The staff is tested every 2 weeks. When and how are students tested? More information about recess, teaching outside, the use of lawn paint to mark fields. Now that it is known this virus is airborne, how is the air filtration system in our classrooms? Will staff in the Learning Center and counselors be on campus working with students? Will a written copy of the safety plan be made available for staff? Respectively, Sheila Jackson, Romoland Elementary School teacher. And that concludes the comments for this evening.
Thank you, Nikki. And Mr. Payton, you'll follow up on those comments.
Yes, Ms. Moon, thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to employee associations reports. Do we have any association reports, Mr. Murray, to report?
We do. Are you able to hear me well enough?
We can.
Perfect. I have a joint statement from both RTA and CSEA, and it begins, "Good evening, board members, Superintendent Payton, and Cabinet. On behalf of the RTA and CSEA associations, we are pleased to inform the board that through our partnership with the district's various committees, we have made progress with implementing guidelines and protocols for staff so that we're able to provide services to some of our students. Assessments have been taking place at all school sites, and we anticipate to have safe, precise protocols to start servicing students in need of one-to-one speech, SAI, mental health, behavioral needs, EL, and some small core services. We are excited with the first stage of what we hope to be one of several stages of getting our students back on campus. We all agree that we do not want to rush in opening campuses up only to have shutdowns occur again. The possibility of that has been and will continue to be looming over every decision. That could have unfavorable and emotional and academic consequences. As we have come to see, there's no real trend with COVID. 1 week an uptick in cases, and we hold our breath for the next week's numbers. However, as a whole, we continue to plan, prepare, and now proceed with providing services to our most vulnerable students. Both associations have continued to voice our reservations within all the district committees we participate in. We recommend continuing the stages in progression, allowing a couple of weeks between stages. It has been shared, our small cohorts should expand to some of our Gen Ed students who have fallen academically behind, which will benefit from some small group interventions. Providing COVID has a downward trend, we recommend the next phase in a couple of weeks to bring back only hybrid students, November through December. If numbers continue to decline, the third stage would be to bring back students in the traditional setting when we return in January, and then finally the middle of school, or finally the middle of school at the end of January. Several reasons to spread out the reopening is to confirm that all of our hard work ever since the spring regarding the safety plan is working and keeping everyone healthy, and we will be able to modify and strategize as needed the procedures. The final reason, and the one we know will have the most impact on all of our efforts, is as we are approaching many events that could potentially increase COVID cases. Social distancing during the election, the travel and gathering of families to share a meal during Thanksgiving, along with the winter break activities, and then the upcoming flu season. We see and hear from our district and colleagues that we have students who are thriving and learning in these conditions. Among those, we have others that are having difficulty. Let's bring them in with our initial stages. We don't need to do an all or nothing. We have seen how well that has played out in other settings with mass people. We're not stating that we want to discontinue following the CDPH recommendations and guidelines, but we do want to implement them more cautiously. Understand our voices from those we represent, and they have asked that we present these concerns. Their concerns are to educate our students the best way possible while keeping them healthy. Thank you, RTA President Mary Wigman and CSEA President Ramona Massey. And that is it.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. We're going to move on to notice of public hearing. K1, public hearing to reopen early childhood programs after required closure. This is a time and place set for a duly noticed public hearing regarding the plan to safely reopen early childhood programs after the required closure. I declare this public hearing open. At this time, the Board of Trustees will receive comments on the plan to safely reopen early childhood programs. Were there any members of the public who submitted comments regarding this matter, Ms. Thaxton?
No, there were not.
Seeing there's no further comments, I declare the public hearing closed. Next is information items. We have L1, the LEA plan to safely reopen early childhood programs after our required closure. And Ms. Wise will introduce this item.
This is connected also to the public hearing that we just had. It's about state preschool of our early childhood programs, and it's guidance per California Senate Bill 820 about how our early childhood program, because it's a part of our district program, it's on our district facilities, it closed as our K-8 schools closed. And it went to virtual learning just as our schools did, and it will reopen just as our schools will in gradual phases in alignment with the K through 8 school openings. And early childhood has had representation on our district committees for safety committee and the school opening and instructional planning committee. And so the idea is basically because early childhood might have some different mandates, it is a part of our district though, and so it follows our district plan for reopening.
Thank you. We're going to move now to the consent agenda. We have item number M6, the classified personnel assignment order number 4, 2020-2021, needs to be amended to include the updated attachments. Mr. Murray, can you explain these amendments?
Sorry about that. I started talking before I unmuted myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one item, which is the classified personnel order, and we have an additional resignation that will take effect later this year that we've added to that personnel order.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the amended classified personnel assignment order as presented and the amended consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Moon,
Yes.
could I read into the record the donations this month?
Oh, please.
Excellent. To Boulder Ridge Elementary, Wall Dogs, Riley Faruth donated pattern transfer paint and brushes valued approximately $250 to Boulder Ridge Elementary School. The donation will be used to support Do Better mural project on the handball court. Also, Tom User and Menifee Rotary Club donated $500 to Boulder Ridge Elementary School. The donation will be used to purchase supplies in support of Do Better mural project on the handball courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kleitz made a motion for M6. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? As there's no discussion, all in favor, Mr. Gary,
Aye.
Mrs. Kleitz,
Aye.
Mr. Reller,
Aye.
Mr. Sperry,
Aye.
and myself, aye, Ms. Moon. Now we move on to the action items. We have N1 resolution number 10, 2020-21, authorizing approving the borrowing of funds for the fiscal year 2020-2021, issuance, sale of 2021 tax and revenue anticipation note, therefore participation in Riverside County Office of Education pooled cross fiscal year 2020-21 tax and revenue anticipation notes program. Ms. Cole to explain this item.
Sure. Due to deferred state funding, we're projecting a cash flow shortage during the current fiscal year. So Resolution 10 authorizes the district to borrow $2.935 million to address this cash flow shortfall through the issuance of a TRAN. We're projecting to receive the cash somewhere in the area of February or March of 21. 2021, and then the repayment will take place October 1st of 2021.
Thank you. Do any board members have comments or questions?
And Carol, is this going to affect our positive certification?
It will not.
And is this due to deferrals?
It's due to the state deferring revenues for 5 months of the current fiscal year, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
And all in favor, Mr. Aguirre,
Aye.
Mrs. Kleitz,
Aye.
Mr. Reller,
Aye.
Mr. Sperry,
Aye.
and Ms. Moon, aye. Into California State University, San Bernardino College of Education, Learning Site Agreement. Mr. Murray to explain this item.
This is a continuation of an agreement we have with Cal State San Bernardino to allow student teachers, interns to work within our school district. So we've had a lot of success with the university, and we'd like to continue that relationship.
Great, thank you. Do any board members have comments or questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And all in favor, Mr. Aguirre? Mr. Aguirre, all in favor?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, you're really, it could be just me. So you said aye. Mrs. Kleitz,
Aye.
Mr. Reller,
Aye.
Mr. Sperry,
Aye.
and myself, Ms. Moon, aye. In 3, Touro University Affiliation Agreement. Mr. Murray to explain this item.
This is a similar agreement. It's a new university we have never partnered with before. It's Touro University. And this one specifically is in the area of like MFT, those types of intern activities. But we're hoping if we have an opportunity for somebody to come in from the university, it will also be a positive experience for Romoland School District.
Great, thank you. Do any board members have any comments or questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, Mr. Aguirre,
Aye.
Mrs. Kleitz,
Aye.
Mr. Reller,
Aye.
Mr. Sperry,
Aye.
and myself, aye. All righty, that brings us to the end. I'm going to ask for closing comments of the board members. Mr. Aguirre?
No closing comments.
Okay, Mrs. Kleitz, any closing comments?
None at this time.
Mr. Reller,
No, ma'am.
Mr. Sperry,
No comments.
and myself, no comments. So our regular board meeting is adjourned at 6:57 p.m.